we have completed 3 cantos, Canto 1, Canto 2, Canto 3, and from this week onwards, we'll be starting and moving on with Canto 4. So, in essence, we have completed half Bhakti Vaibhav portion. Still, another half of the Bhakti Vaibhav portion is still remaining. Till now, we are going very slow. I think now on we should go a little faster. So, fourth canto is very special canto. Why and how we'll try to see today. And in this fourth canto, we'll try to see what is the mood of the great devotees, such as Dhruva Maharaj, Prutu Maharaj, Prachetas, Lord Shiva, and Narada Muni. These were the 5 great devotees whose mood is very nicely depicted in this canto 4. So, when we hear about them, when we hear about their activities, the event that took place in their life, we get a hope that anything can happen in the life of a devotee. So, one should be always vigilant. And especially this canto will talk about what are the different type of obstacles that can come in the life of a sadhaka, and what is the solution, and how a devotee should be able to tackle all those difficulties and handle them in a proper bona fide way. So, as a result of that, other devotees can follow in the footsteps of the contemporary devotees. So, Bhagavatam gives the examples of various obstacles that have come in the life of various devotees and how they overcome came it. And as a result of that, it is showing us, okay, the same thing can happen to all of us also. So, one should be ready and then deal with them in a bona fide way. So, that is a lesson we learn from Canto 4. So, very this canto itself is very significant canto, which plays very important pivotal role, because in addition to Canto 3, Canto 4 is also very important in the beginning part of the Bhagavatam, because these cantos will help us what is Bhagavatam, what is Bhakti, how to uh, maintain sanity while practicing Bhakti, etc. So today we'll try to touch upon some of those things very briefly, and we'll introduce Canto 4, what is there in Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 4, and what we can learn, etc. Of course, most of the pastimes some of us might be hearing regularly in our daily Bhagavatam classes and also weekly satsang programs, etc. But still, now we are going to see them in sequence, one after the other. As a result of that, we can have proper connectivity, proper flow of what is what, etc. So, just in order to begin Canto 4, I'm just adding a couple of slides more. So, I hope all the devotees have finished their respective assignments in the previous cantos.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Because
Prabhuji.
once we are done with all the assignments in the previous cantos, this canto we can continue nicely without
Yes,
any.
Prabhuji.
Yeah. So okay, fine. I'm done. I just start off adding couple of slides more. Added. We will start with the discussion. So Canto 4, it talks about the genealogical tables of the daughters of Manu, the descendants of Manu's daughters. So not only Manu's daughters, of course, this is the first chapter. The first chapter talks about the descendants of Manu's daughters. Manu has three daughters. The three daughters in turn have many children. Their details are mentioned. In relation to them, the subsequent details are mentioned. So in the very first chapter, we will see that how Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti gave birth to various children, and especially in through the three daughters, the Supreme Lord appeared in three wonderful forms. Through Akuti, the Supreme Lord appeared as Lord Yajna. Through Prasuti, the Supreme Lord will appear as Naranarayan Rishi. And through Devahuti, which we have already seen in the third canto, the Lord appears as Lord Kapila. So these people are very special people. On their own, they are special, and they became special because the Supreme Lord also appeared in their lineage. So in both way, they are actually very special. So why Sukadeva Goswami getting into this conversation is Vidura made certain inquiries with an intention to know about the lineage of Swayambhu Manu and his descendants, because they are all wonderful. The main primary reason is they are great devotees. As a result of that, the Supreme Lord chosen their family to descend in this world. So in that way, Swayambhuvasya cha manor vamshaha parama sammata Katyatam Bhagavan Yatra Maitunye Naidire Praja. So Vidura is inquiring Maitreya. Oh Maitreya, please describe the lineage of the highly respected Swayambhuva Manu, in which the population increased through procreation. So we saw in the previous canto, maybe a couple of slides later, we see that when Brahma created all the living entities through his mystic potency, he wanted to make the system automatic. As a result of that, with that intention, he first created the first couple, Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa. Through them, the creation continued through the process of procreation. Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa married, and they gave birth to five children. The five children were Priyavrata, Uttanapada, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. And these five children further begot children, and they begot children, they begot children, like that. The creation continued on from there. So, in order to help us understand how the creation continued on by the combination of male and female, an example as a case study, how during the reign of Swayambhu Manvantara period, how Swayambhu Manu and his descendants continued throughout the period of one Manvantara. That will be described in the fourth canto and also during the first half of the fifth canto, the first 15 chapters of Canto 5. So, about one and a half cantos talks about the first Manvantara, known as Swayambhu Manvantara, how the descendants appeared and continued on one after the other is described. That's what my Vidura is inquiring from Maitreya. We should describe how the two sons of Swayambhu Manu, that is Priyavrata and Uttanapada, protected the earth, that is Bhumandala, with its 7 continents. Priyavratottanapadau sutau swayambhuvasya vai. Sutau swayambhuvasthavai. Yata dharmam jugupatu sapta deepavati mahim. So Swayambhu Manu, afterwards, his son Uttanapada and Priyavrata, they were all ruling over the entire Bhumandala, consisting of 7 Dvipas. So one may think that the earth with 7 continents means the current earth globe consisting of 7 continents. One may think like that, but not exactly like that. The Bhumandala is much bigger than the current earth globe. So details about this we will discuss in the Canto 5, the later part of Canto 5. So they are the rulers of the entire Bhumandala. So that he wants to know. The next one he says that Ruchir yo Bhagavan Brahman Daksho va Brahmana Suta Yata Satarja Bhutani Labdva Bharyam cha Manavim. Please describe how the sons of Brahma, that is Ruchi, Kardama and Daksha, obtained Akuti, Devahuti and Prasuti, the 3 daughters of Manu, as their wives, and how they produced offspring. So, out of 5 children, the 2 sons were Priyavata and Uttanapada, and the next 3 daughters were Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti, who in turn eventually married Ruchi, Kardama, and Daksha. These 3 were the 3 sons of the Brahma. Brahma created many great sages. Among them, 3 of them married the 3 daughters of Swayambhuva Manu. Ruchi married Akuti, Kardama married Devahuti, Daksha married Prasuti. And after their marriage, how did they begot children? How the children continued on begetting further children, etc. etc. Please give some details about the genealogical expansion of the 5 children of Swayambhuva Manu. So these were the inquiries made by Vidura long back in 21st chapter. But in the same chapter, there was another inquiry. But first of all, I want to hear about Lord Kapila, who was one of the descendants of Devahuti, because Lord Kapila spoke on Sankhya. So as a result of that, the later question was answered first, and the initial questions were answered later. So these questions will be answered now in the 4th and 5th cantos. So if you remember, the Canto 3 was also a very special canto in which there is a discussion about the creation. Because Vidura inquired, please speak about the creation. Please speak about the process of creation of the universe of happiness and suffering. So please tell me what was the systematic step-by-step process of the creation of this entire universe consisting of the dualities, happy and misery, happiness and suffering. So as an answer to that question, Maitreya spoke about the primary creation, Sarga, which is also known as Prakrita Srishti. By glancing upon Prakriti, Mahavishnu manifested 24 elements through the womb of Prakriti, and then by glancing upon those 24 elements, he combined them. From that combination, he manifested unlimited Brahmandas. Then entering into each and every Brahmanda, he manifested Garbhodaka ocean, sky, ether, etc. etc. Then eventually manifested lotus from his own transcendental navel. And then he expanded himself as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, entered into that lotus as its Paramatma. As a result of that, on top of that lotus appeared the 4-headed Brahma, who eventually, having obtained the empowerment and blessings of Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, divided the lotus into 14 divisions, consisting of 14 planetary systems. All this is called as Sarga, the primary creation. Hearing this, then Vidura asks another question. Please tell me how Brahma created the bodies of different living entities from his own mind and body. How Brahma, by his mystic potency, manifested various types of living entities from his own body and mind. So this is called Visarga or Vaikrita. Vishesha Rupena Krityati iti Vaikrita. So this is also called as Naimitika Srishti. Lord Brahma became Nimitta as an instrument in progressing, in furthering the creation of the material existence. So here we saw from chapter 10, 12, 20 that how Brahma manifested 14 lokas and then manifested various variety of living entities in those 14 lokas, and also orchestrated the allowance of the various facilities, etc., etc., so that the people in different places live in a different ways. So like that. And then in later part, after hearing all these things, he also asked one more question that please describe the activities of this first saintly king, Swayambhu Manu. Because Brahma's creation ends with the manifestation of Swayambhu Manu and Chaturpa. After creating the four variety of conditioned living entities, such as the plants, aquatics, animals consisting of lower consciousness, human beings, and then superhuman beings consisting of devatas, asuras, kinnaras, kimpurushas, gandharvas, yakshas, bhuta, preta, pishashas, etc., etc. Like this, four category of entities have been manifested by Brahma, who come in the category of conditioned souls. So, like first, the plants, immovable plants. Second, the lower conscious animals. Third, the human beings. The fourth, the superhuman beings such as devatas and asuras, etc. And then he also created, in order to deliver all these conditioned souls, he manifested the four Kumaras as the teachers of Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. Then he manifested Narada Muni as the teacher of Bhakti Yoga. Then he manifested unlimited great sages, Prajapatis, Rishis, etc. as the teachers of Nishkama Karma Yoga. So that all these conditioned souls, by taking the shelter of one of these great sages, great teachers of one of the transcendental process, can go back home back to Godhead. So that's how he did it. But he was doing all these things, but finally thought that let me make a self-sustainable system. How long I shall meditate upon and manifest one after the other living entities. I have manifested the initial set of the living entities. Now let them continue on their own. So in order to make them continue on their own, he created a process of procreation by which they can continue the creation. So that he initiated that by creating Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa. And also he established a one process of mutual dependency among the human beings and all other living species. And the ruler of the human beings is the Manu. He is held responsible for conducting this yajna. Yajna is the process which connects all the living entities together by keeping them under mutual dependency, which Lord Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita. Sahayajna praja srushta pujo purovacha prajapati. Anena prasiddhastun Eshavostu Ishta Kamaduk. So, having created all the living entities, and finally having created Swayambhu Manu Shatarupa, the ruler of the human beings, the protector of the Bhumandala, Lord Brahma established a process known as Yajna. By that Yajna, both the Devatas and human beings and other animals prosper very nicely. So, like that. The reason is Annad Bhavanti Bhutani Parjanyad Anna Sambhava Yajnad Bhavanti Parjanyo Yajna Karma Samudbhavaha. All the living entities need food, including the devatas, humans, animals, plants. Everyone need food, but everyone's food lies in the rain. Annad Bhavanti Bhutani Parjanyad Anna Sambhava. We get food by rains. When there are rains, we get food. Animals get grasses. Humans get food grains, and higher beings get food in the form of oblations offered in the yajna. Because when there are food grains, when there are green grasses, the milk will be available from cows. Using the milk products and the food grains, one can accomplish yajna. As a result of that, the devatas will be nourished. They'll by getting their daily share of food. So in that way, Annat Bhavanti Bhutani yajna. Annat Bhavanti Bhutani Parjanyad Anna Sambhava. Yajnat Bhavanti Parjanyo Yajna Karma Samudvaha. And yajna is accomplished. Parjanya, rains will come when yajna is accomplished. And yajna is accomplished when everyone performs their respective varnas duties properly. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and all others, when they perform their respective duties properly, the yajna will be automatically accomplished. Because as part of their duties, yajna is there. So they will do it without fail. So then, while in order to describe the activities of the first saintly king Swayambhu Manu, Lord Varaha's pastime also narrated. Because when Swayambhu Manu appeared, Swayambhu Manu approached Brahma, asking that, my dear father, you have manifested me, you have created me. Please allocate a place to stay and also allocate a service to do. Then Brahma told, please go to Bhumandala and take care of the living entities who are living in the Bhumandala and rule it over nicely. But Swayambhu Manu could not find the Bhumandala because Bhumandala fell into Garbhodaka ocean. So Swayambhu Manu informed Brahma, this is what happened. Then Brahma meditated upon Supreme Lord. Then the Supreme Lord appeared as a small creature from the nostril, dived deep into Garbhodaka ocean. Sniffing, he understood where the Bhumandala and brought it outside. When he brought it outside, during Chakshusha Manantara, in the Swayambhu Manantara, just dived deep into the Garbhodaka ocean, brought it outside and kept it in the position. But in Chakshusha Manantara, when he was about to bring it outside, Hiranyaksha stopped him. Then Lord Varaha had a good fight with Hiranyaksha and killed him and delivered him. So that all explained in the third canto in the middle chapters. And then, as part of the descriptions of the lineage of the first Manu, that is Swayambhu Manu, and also as per the question asked by Vidura, please talk about the appearance and activities, the wonderful activities and teachings of Lord Kapila. So then in the later part of the third canto, Maitreya spoke about under what circumstances, when and where Lord Kapila appeared, and what were the teachings of Lord Kapila. All those things are narrated in the later part of Canto 3. So, Lord Kapila talks about Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Vairagya, Ashtanga Yoga, and Karma Yoga. These are the various sadhanas which were spoken by Lord Kapila, taking whose shelter a conditioned soul can get liberation. There are 6 types of sadhanas: karma, jnana, yoga, vairagya, tapasya, and bhakti. Here, yoga stands for Ashtanga Yoga. All these 6 processes can help one slowly, eventually, gradually attain freedom from the material existence. By taking them seriously, one will come back to Godhead. So then the question might come, what do you mean by Godhead? What is that Godhead? What is that abode of Lord Vaikuntha? Abode of Lord Vishnu, which is known as Vaikuntha. So somebody might have question. So somebody might have prior to that, one might have one more question also. Why at all I should follow one of these sadhanas and come back to what I'm happy here. So Lord says that you may be happy for now, but this happiness will not last long. It will disappear very soon. It will fade away very soon. So one's eternal home is actually in the spiritual world. It is natural that one should stay in one's eternal home. Somehow Jiva has come to this material world, realizing that one should make an endeavor to come back to Godhead. What kind of endeavor? Take shelter of Bhakti Yoga and worship the Supreme Lord. As a result of that, one can come back to Godhead. So, so one may ask the question, now one may ask the question, so what do you mean by the Godhead? So what is it? That is the abode of Lord Vishnu, known as Vaikuntha. How does it look like? A brief introduction about the Vaikuntha is given in the Canto 3, chapter 15-16. A very wonderful, eloquent discussion was there. Some of our devotees also have presented about it. So then the question is, okay, that is fine. You are telling that our eternal home is Vaikuntha, then how come I landed here? How did I come here? There is a small case study given in the third canto that Jaya and Vijay also, because of some unknown, unintentional mistake, they have to come here. They came here and they have appeared as Hiranyaksha and Hiranakashipu. And now to the intervention of Supreme Lord, they will go back again to the respective places. So like that. So the process of Jaya Vijaya coming to this material world has been presented as a case study in Canto 3, and they are appearing as Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, and they are getting delivered by the Supreme Lord as Lord Varaha and Lord Narasimha are also briefly indicated in Canto 3. And then, so you are saying, fine, Jaya Vijaya came here, but what about how? Is there any example that somebody gone back to Godhead having followed the teachings given by Lord Kapila? Yes. What to speak of anybody else? Lord Kapila's two parents, Kardamamuni and Devahuti, immediately went back to Godhead by following the teachings of Lord Kapila. So like this, Canto 3 has given a complete picture of what is what. So what is this material world, how it is created, what is the process of creation by Vishnu, Brahma, and eventually afterwards through Prajapatis and the living entities on their own. That is all touched in that. And then the process somehow we have planned here, process to go back to ordered is again shown in Canto 3. So when one goes back to Vaikuntha, how does Vaikuntha look like? What the residents of Vaikuntha will do? That is also said. So if we are supposed to stay in Vaikuntha, why are we landed up here? A case study of that somebody in what condition one comes to the material world is shown through the fall down of Jaya and Vijaya as Hiranyakashipu. And by following the teachings of Lord Kapila, such as Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, etc., especially Bhakti Yoga, is there anybody gone back to Godhead? Examples are shown in Canto 3, that is Kardama Muni and Shataru, Kardama Muni and Devahuti, the two parents of Lord Kapila. So, from that point of view, it is complete, foolproof, and self manifesting. That is there. So, now, having taught that Maitreya Rishi in third canto, now we will teach us the descendants of uh, Swayambhu Manu in the canto 4. In the fourth canto, in 31 chapter, there is a description of Visarga, what was created by Brahma and the Manus by the order of the Lord. So the second part of Visarga, which is called as Nitya Srishti, how through the process of procreation, the living entities continue to manifest generation after generation. An example of the king's lineage has been presented in this Canto 4, and also it continues in Canto 5 also. So this Canto contains 31 chapters. In the first chapter, there is a discussion about the descendants of Manu's daughters. Manu had three daughters. Ruchi married, Kuti. Kardama married Devahuti. Daksha married Prasuti. And their children are described in the chapter 1. And chapter 2 to 7 describes Daksha's sacrifice, Daksha Yajna. Its destruction, its restoration are described. So we will see how Daksha's sacrifice was got disturbed by Veerabhadra and the associates of Lord Shiva, the Bhuta, Preta, Pishasha, Yaksha, Rakshasas, and eventually by the request of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva comes and restores it. That is all present in the next 6 chapters. Then 5 chapters describe Dhruva Maharaj. Chapter 8 to 12 talks about Dhruva Maharaj. Chapter 13 to 23, about 11 chapters describes Prithu Maharaj. Then chapter 24 to 31, 8 chapters talks about Prachetas, the wonderful devotees such as Dhruva, Prithu and Prachetas. So they have offered wonderful prayers. When we come, we will relish. So now, before getting into Canto 4, let us set the background. Let us set the mood. With what background, with what mood we should dive deep into Canto 4 and try to relish Canto 4. So So there is a shloka which is stated in Harita Samhita, hmm, which is known as Artha Panchakam. The five utmost things we are supposed to understand by studying and understanding the Vedic literatures. The purpose of studying Vedic literatures is to understand these five things. So these are known as Artha Panchakam. What were they? Prapasya Brahmano Rupam Praptuscha Pratyagatmanaha Praptupayam Phalam Chaiva Tata Prapti Virodhicha Vadanti Sakala Veda Sa Itihasa Puranakaha. The Vedas, Itihasas, Puranas all talk about these five things only, nothing more than that. Whatever we study in the Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas is nothing but, in essence, only these five things. What are the five things? Prapyasya Brahmanorupam, first one. Praptuscha Pratyagatmana, second one. Praptupayam, third one. Phalam Chaiva, fourth one. Virodisha, fifth one. The ultimate object of all sections of Shruti, of the Itihasas and Puranas, is to clarify the true nature of the following five concepts, the essential truths of the five things that are mentioned in the all the Vedic literatures. The first one is Prapyasya Brahmano Rupam, the nature and attributes of the glorious Lord. One need to understand the nature and attributes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That was the purpose. Second one, Praptuscha Pratyagatmana, the characteristics and the qualities of the individual soul. Brahmano means the supreme absolute truth, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, understanding the absolute truth in its three features that is there. And Pratyagatmana means understanding the constitutional position of the individual soul. So, in order to understand the constitutional position of the individual soul, one need to understand conditioned state also. So, that is there. Third one is Praptupayam, the nature of the strategy of the soul has to adopt if it is to attain liberation from its mundane shackles. So, if the constitutional soul of the soul, the constitutional nature of the soul is to be the eternal servant of Supreme Lord, Jivera Swarupai Krishna Nityadas. But currently we are not. So currently we are in a conditioned state, but the soul's natural state is Jivera Swarupai Krishna Nityadas. So how to attain our original status, our original state, our original consciousness? What were the means? Praptupayam. The means is the nature of the strategy of the soul to adopt if it is to attain liberation from its mundane shackles. The means is the five things: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Tapasya and Vairagya, and Bhakti Yoga. Total six things actually. These six are the means to attain liberation eventually. So then the fourth one is Phalam Chaiva. Okay. You are telling that you have to practice sadhana, one of the sadhanas, especially bhakti, and attain one's constitutional position. Having attained constitutional, what will I do there? What will I do with it? The nature of the bliss that awaits the Jivatma upon deliverance. So, the happiness one experiences having gone back home, back to Godhead, having gone to Vaikuntha, what kind of seva one gets, what kind of happiness one gets by serving the Supreme Lord in person. That is called Phalam, the ultimate result of practicing sadhana and going back home, back to Godhead. That is there. And then Tata Prapti Virodhicha. While attaining that, while practicing one sadhana, what are the kind of obstacles that come in the life of a sadhaka? That is mentioned. The apparently insurmountable hurdles that trip that trip up the individual soul at every step towards emancipation. When Jiva taking up the sadhana very seriously, there so many obstacles come. So, what are the kind of obstacles that can come in the life of sadhaka? So that one can mentally prepare in advance, and when they come, one can tackle and can deal with them appropriately. So that was the thing. So in essence, it is said that the second thing is, who am I and where am I? Who am I is what is my constitutional position, where am I is what is my conditional state now, and where I am supposed to go. I am supposed to go to the shelter of the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Supreme Lord. So who is Supreme Lord? Where does he stay? What is the nature of his abode? Etc. 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 That is the first one. And the third one is, so if I am here, if the Supreme Lord is there, how do I go there? What is the means to go there? That is Praptupayam. So while going there, what are the obstacles that can come? Is it a direct path, smooth path, or here, there, etc. etc. Any obstacles that can come? What are the difficulties can await me on the path? Tata Prapti Virodhicha. Then, having gone there, what will I do? Phalam Chaiva. What will I get? What will I do there? Etc. etc. So, in a sense, these are the five things which are taught by all Vedic literatures. Outside, especially next month in December, when we go out for distribution of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and Krishna book, etc., people say that I am following this, I am following that, I am doing this, I am doing that, etc. etc. Just ask these five questions. If one is clear about these five questions, one's philosophy is bona fide. If one is not clear about these five things, one's philosophy is not appropriate. Who am I and where I am? Who is Lord or where I am supposed to go? And what is the means to go there? What are the set of obstacles that can come in this path and how to tackle with them? And having gone there, what will I do there? Etc. So some of these questions can be asked during the month of December while doing book marathon. So now, uh, where are we? It is already indicated in Canto 3 visa. Out of the 14 lokas, we are currently in Bhuloka. Where we are supposed to go? We are supposed to go to Vaikunta. That is also described in Canto 3. So if you remember the slides, the Vaikunta description is there. Description of Vaikunta, we are supposed to go there. What is the means to go there? Bhakti, Sankhya Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Karma Yoga. That is the means. And what are the obstacles that can come in the life of a sadhaka? Canto 4 and Canto 5 will elaborately talk about all the different variety of obstacles that comes in the life of a sadhaka. Now we will see slowly very soon all these obstacles, what will come in the life of a sadhaka. And having gone there, what will I do? That is also kind of indicated in chapter Canto 3 only. What the current Vaikuntha Vasis are doing, how are they serving the Supreme Lord without any competition is there, but comparison is not there. Everyone is willingly, happily serving the Lord, and everyone is giving facility for others to serve the Lord in a better way. There, instead of saying that I am best, they say that they are best, let them serve the Lord, let them serve the Lord. With that cooperative mood, they are serving the Supreme Lord. So in that way, we can see Canto 3, Canto 4 gives a complete picture of what is what. So in Canto 3, the first four chapters, we saw how Vidura, having met Uddhava, by the request of Uddhava, he went to Haridwar and met Maitreya Rishi. And from Maitreya Rishi, he was hearing about Sarga, Visarga, and other things. And in the first few chapters, the primary creation, how it happens by the glance of Mahavishnu is presented, the process of creation. In the later part of Canto 3, it talks about what was the purpose of creation. The purpose of creation is to go back, come back to Godhead by following one of these four sadhanas, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. And then Canto 3 also briefly talks about Visarga, how Brahma manifested the 14 planetary systems and how Brahma manifested various living entities who are going to reside in those 14 lokas. That is briefly mentioned in chapter 10, 12, and 20 that we have already seen. And then, having created all the variety of living entities, Brahma wanted to make the system automatic. For that, he created the first couple, Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa. Then, by the system of marriage, by the process of procreation, the further descendants would be begotten. So they begot 5 children, 2 sons and 3 daughters. The 3 daughters were married with 3 great sages, and then eventually the population increased through the process of procreation. The same system is still continuing. It will continue till the end of the day of Brahma. So like that. That is process called as Nitya Srishti. An example of how things are moving on, the how the kingly descendants have continued to procreate generation after generation from the lineage of Swayambhu Manu is described in the 4th canto and the first 15 chapters of Canto 5. So this is a case study or example of Nitya Srishti, the descendants of Swayambhu Manu during the period of Swayambhu Manvantara period. So Swayambhu Manu had 3 daughters and 2 sons. The 3 daughters were Devahuti, Akuti, and Prasuti. Akuti married Ruchi, and their details are mentioned in the first chapter, text number 1 to 8. Lord Yajna was appeared to them. Okay. And Devahuti married Kardama, and they gave birth to 9 children, and they married nine daughters and 1 son. The son was Lord Kapila. He is going to he taught the teachings of Lord Kapila in the elderly. And also there are 9 daughters and their descendants. They are married to great sages, the sons of Brahma, and their descendants are further described in Canto 4, chapter 1. And then Prasuti married Daksha, and they gave birth to various children. Among them, there is Naranarayan Rishi. So this is Naranarayan Rishi is there, that we will see. And Prasuti also gave birth to Sati. Sati married Lord Shiva, one of the 11 Rudras. As a result of that, eventually, of course, Daksha was not willing to offer his daughter in marriage to Lord Shiva, but Brahma insisted that your daughter should be married to Lord Shiva. So Daksha had to give his daughter, but he never had a respectable disposition towards Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is the resident of crematorium. He does not have a home. He does not have a hut also. So Daksha never wanted to give his daughter to a pauper, a beggar, a resident of crematorium. But Brahma insisted, so he has to give. So he did not have proper respect for Lord Shiva. As a result of that, his daughter Sati had to burn herself, and Lord Shiva, out of anger, had to create Veerabhadra, and Veerabhadra came and destroyed Lord Shiva. Sorry, destroyed Daksha. So again, later on, by the request of Brahma, Lord Shiva comes and joining the head of a goat, revives Daksha, and the completion of the sacrifice, and then things happen further. That is all mentioned in the first 7 chapters. Then there is a discussion about Uttanapada in the rest of the 4th canto. Uttanapada and his further descendants are all described starting from 8th chapter till the end of the canto. Then in the first part of the 5th canto, there is a discussion about Priyavrata and his descendants. They are all mentioned. In this way, the entire Swayambhu Manvantara, the descendants of the rulers, have been presented. So now, while discussing all these things, as we just saw in the previous slide, that we see the personalities like Daksha, Dhruva, Prutu, and Prachitas. All these personalities are an example of devotees in different consciousness. Devotees in different conditioning, different consciousness, how they begin bhakti, how they execute bhakti, and by executing that kind of bhaktis, what are the difficulties they went through, how and when they attained success, perfection, etc., are there. So in the Canto 3, while describing the process of bhakti, by the request of Mother Devahuti, in order to understand the different categories of bhakti. Lord Kapila mentioned that bhakti in four different conditions. When bhakti performed by a person in the mode of ignorance, that bhakti will have a tinge of ignorance. Bhakti does not have any tinge of ignorance, but the performer will have the tinge of ignorance. As a result of that, the process of bhakti goes in a different detour only. So, how does a person in the mode of ignorance practice bhakti? Abhisandaya yo imsam dambam maistarya mevava samrambi binnadrik bhavam mai kurya satamsya. The angry person, samrambi, okay, devoid of compassion, who worships me with intentions of violence, pride, and hatred, is tamasic in his bhakti. So, a tamasic person, when he takes up bhakti, how does he perform bhakti? He performs bhakti without any compassion for others. Huh? He performs bhakti with the intentions of, he is always angry. With anger only he performs bhakti. And he performs bhakti with the intentions of causing violence to others, out of pride and out of hatred towards others, out of envy towards others. He wanted to show off that I am great devotee than you, something like that. So, with all these bad intentions, this person practices bhakti without understanding what bhakti can offer one. The reason is this person's intelligence is in the mode of ignorance. He does not understand why bhakti should be performed, in what way bhakti should be performed, for what purpose bhakti should be performed. At the end, at max, he can think that bhakti is a process by which I can destroy somebody else. I can show off myself, I'm a great person, something like that. I am also a devotee or something like that. Show off one practices. The reason is their intelligence is very poor. They don't understand what is to be done, what is not to be done, what is dharma, what is adharma. What do you mean by bhakti? They can't understand what it is. So, without any understanding, without proper ascertainment, they practice bhakti, hoping that, yeah, this bhakti will help me destroy my enemy, something like that. So, what kind of intelligence do they possess? The Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, Adharmam dharmamiti ya manyate tamasa avrta sarvartan viparitamscha buddhi sapartha tamasi. Here it says that intelligence in tamaguna, that intelligence is in tamaguna, which one considers adharma to be dharma, and sees all things contrary to the truth. So not only in relation to dharma and adharma, in every aspect, he sees everything in an opposite way. Good as bad, bad as good. That is the nature of, or the intelligence of a person in the mode of ignorance. That's why bhakti is a process which can avoid prema, which can take one back home, back to Godhead, which can liberate one. But this fellow is practicing bhakti to destroy somebody else, or to cause violence upon somebody else, huh? To exhibit one's hatred and envy upon somebody else, to show off one's superiority over others, etc., etc., and without any compassion for others. That is the nature. The intelligence which takes everything in the opposite way, considering what is right to be wrong and is what is wrong to be right, considering what is the supreme truth not to be the supreme truth, and what is not supreme to be the supreme truth, is intelligence in the mode of ignorance. Bhagavatam says that the most of the people in Kali Yuga are of this nature, are of this category. Most of our intelligence in the mode of ignorance, and we tend to consider good to be bad, bad to be good, dharma to be adharma, adharma to be dharma, right to be wrong, wrong to be the right. What is absolute truth, we put it in lower state, and what is the lower state, we put that as absolute truth. This is what happens in the Kali Yuga. That will be the range, but that will be the kind of intelligence the people of Kali Yuga will possess. So similarly, bhakti, the performer of bhakti in the mode of passion. How the practitioner of bhakti in the mode of passion practices bhakti. Vishayanabhisandaya yasha aishwaryameva va Archadau archayedyo mam prutak bhava sarajasaha. He who worships me in the forms of deities and others with a desire for other objects. Prutak bhavam abhisandaya. This is the typical people who goes to pilgrimages. People go to Tirumala, Pandarpur, and any holy place you can take. They go, stand in front of the Lord, close their eyes, bring both the palms together, supplication posture. They say, my dear Lord, this difficulty is there, please remove. That difficulty there, please remove. Please give me this, please give me that, please give me this job, that job, wife, children, hey, whoa. Always asking something other than the Lord. We go to the Lord, we don't want Lord, but we want something from the Lord. That's why it's called Putak Bhavam Abhisandaya. We worship the Lord. We go to Lord, we worship the Lord. But in order to get something in return, some material object, some material benediction, some material profit in return. Then, with goals of material gain, Vishayan, the objects of sense gratification. And then, fame or wealth, Esha Aishwarya Mevava. That kind of bhakti is in the mode of passion, Rajoguna. So, like that. So, Bhagavatam Mahabharata says that, okay, no problem. So why people practice bhakti like this? The reason is a person, a person's intelligence in the mode of passion is always confused. ये सही है और वो सही है. In the mode of ignorance, one is completely convinced that right to be wrong, wrong to be right. In the mode of passion, one is always confused. That is indicated in Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna, chapter 18, text number 31. या धर्मम् अधर्मं च कार्यं च कार्यमेव च अयतावत् प्रजानाति बुद्धि सा पार्थ राजसी. That intelligence is of Rajoguna, which does not understand completely what is dharma and what is adharma, and what is to be done as duty and what is not to be done as duty. There is always confusion. ये धर्म है, ये अधर्म है, ये करना चाहिए, वो करना चाहिए. So it is always confusion. So in that confusion, sometimes they end up doing right, other times they end up doing wrong. So it's like that. So because of this confusion, they don't know how to practice bhakti and why to practice bhakti. That's why they go to Lord and they say that Bhagavan, ye do mujhe, Bhagavan, o de mujhe. Artharthi. Artho and Artharthi people come in this category. Okay. In the previous verse where bhakti in the mode of ignorance, they perform bhakti out of hatred of others, out of envy of others. The example of that kind of bhakti is Daksha. So Daksha's bhakti will be described in the fourth canto. Daksha is an example of a devotee in the mode of ignorance, and his performance of yajna and other kinds of devotional activities superior to Lord Shiva. Out of hatred of the great position of Lord Shiva, he is performing all those things. And then from come to Supreme Lord and practice bhakti with anticipating to get something material. That is the example is Dhruva. When Dhruva came to Supreme Lord, he came to get Padam Tribhuvanotrushtam Jigisho Sadhu Vartmame. My dear Nardamuni, please tell me a bona fide process following which I will get the position superior to that of the three lokas. Please, if you know, tell me, otherwise, please step aside. So Dhruva's bhakti is considered to be the bhakti in the mode of passion. Of course, eventually became pure devotee by the touch of the Supreme Lord. So Daksha also kind of little bit purified afterwards in a hard way by going through lot of punishments, lot of troubles and all. But what can be done? It is like that. The tamasic intelligence does not allow somebody else's instructions penetrate easily. So, but Dhruva wanted to get something material. He followed the instructions of Narada Muni. Because he followed the instructions of Narada Muni, his heart got purified very easily, very quickly, and eventually, finally said, Swamin Kritarthosmi Varamnayache, my dear Lord, I don't want any material benedictions. Having obtained your wonderful darshan, I am completely satisfied. Kachan Vichinvan Avidipya Ratnam. I was looking for broken piece of glasses, but I have got a Divya Ratna. स्थानाभिलाषी सप्तोस्थितोऽहं त्वां प्राप्तवान् देव मुनीन्द्र गुह्यम् काचन विचिन्वन् अपि दिव्य रत्नम स्वामिन् कृतार्थोस्मि वरं न याचे. I was trying to get a position superior to that of the three lokas, superior to that of the 14 lokas, but I have obtained you, Swam Praptvan Deva Munindra Guhyam, which is very difficult for the Devatas and Munindras also. Attaining your darshan is very rare for the Devatas and Munindras, but I have attained you. I have come to you looking for broken piece of glasses like a position superior to that of 14 lokas, but I have obtained you, the Divya Ratna. Swamin Kritarthosmi, I am completely satisfied. Varamna Yache, now I don't have any desire for any material desires, material blessings. So like that. So yes. So in even in the case of confusion, if one attains a proper guru, one can come out of the confusion. A classical example is Mahabharata. Dwapara Yuga is the Yuga of confusion. If the guru is proper, one will go towards right dharma. If guru is not proper, one will go towards wrong path. That is what we can understand from Mahabharata. Mahabharata is all about having different people with confused intelligence. They are confused at different times. Some had good guru, proper guru, and they went in right path. Some had bad guru, they went in wrong path. The people who had good guru is Arjuna and Yudhishthira Maharaj. When Arjuna was in confusion, Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava pruchami tvam brahma sammuda cheta nishreyasyan bruitam sanme Sishaseham sadhimam tam prapannam. My dear Lord, I am confused. What is good for me, what is not good for me. Please, you tell me, you ascertain what is good for me and tell me I'll follow. You are my guru, I am your disciple. So Arjuna accepted Krishna as his guru and Lord Krishna directed him in the right path. Same way, Yudhishthira Maharaj, after completion of the battle, he said, I don't know what is right and what is wrong. For the sake of kingdom, I made the massacre of 64 crores of people. I don't deserve to be the king. I don't know what is right and wrong. Then all the sages suggested that. Vyasadeva suggested, don't worry. You don't know the right thing will be known by Bhishma. Go to Bhishma. He will tell you what is right thing for you. So Yudhishthira Maharaj surrendered to Bhishma. And Bhishma instructed on the what is right and what is wrong to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Both Arjuna and Yudhishthir surrendered to a right guru during their confusion time and they have obtained right direction. They attained right destiny. On the other hand, the Kauravas, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and Karna, they were also confused. What is right, what is wrong? And they have taken shelter of wrong gurus, Kanika and Shakuni. So they always went in wrong path and claimed that they are the right, that they are following the topmost right. We never did anything wrong. Because in their confusion, what is right, what is wrong, they accepted wrong and said, they always proclaimed that they are doing the right thing. And they always criticized what Pandavas are doing wrong. This is what happens in the confusion. In the state of confusion, when one takes shelter of a proper guru, one goes in a proper direction. One takes shelter of a improper guru, one goes in a improper direction. When even in the confusion state, if one takes proper guru shelter, one enters into goodness. If one takes shelter of a improper guru, one enters into ignorance. Then one becomes convinced that dharma to be adharma, adharma to be dharma. So like that. That is what happens. That is the problem with the intelligence in the mode of passion. Next, finally, the example of this in the Bhagavatam 4th canto is Dhruva. Yeah, Dhruva wanted to worship Lord Vishnu with an intention to fulfill his material desires, Vishayan Abhisandaya. But since he attained a bona fide Guru, his heart got purified and he attained the Supreme Lord and pure devotional service unto the lotus of the Supreme Lord. That is what happens. Next, the performer of bhakti in the mode of goodness. Why a person in the mode of goodness practices bhakti? Karma nirharam uddishya parasmin va tadarpanam yajed estvayam itiva purtak bhavasa satvikaha. Here Maitreya Muni was saying that he who worships me, of course, sorry, Lord Kapila was saying, he who worships me with a desire to destroy karma nirharam uddishya, to purify oneself from the bondage of karma, from the pious and impious results of karma, one want to be purified. One practices bhakti, making his work as an offering to Supreme Lord, tadarpanam. Yat karoshi yadashnashi yajyoshi tadashi yat tapashyasi kaunteya tatkurushva madarpanam. Starting from drinking water, eating food, offering charity and performing yajna, following the rules and regulations and tapasya, etc., etc. One performs everything as an offering to Supreme Lord. Tadarpanam. For what purpose? To want to purify oneself from the material misgivings. For the purpose of self-purification, some practice bhakti in the mode of goodness. Or executing the worship as a duty. Estvayam itiva. The reason is because I have been born in a particular family, I have been given the training in this particular family, I should perform the duties as an offering to Supreme Lord. Because I have been born and brought up in this family, I have been given training in this particular occupational duty. I should perform all my occupational duties and offering to Supreme Lord as a matter of duty, not to enjoy the results of my endeavor. Karmanyavadhikarasya ma phaleshu kadashana. Performing the duty is your right, not to enjoy the fruits. So something like that. And finally, having a desire for liberation as Sattvic Bhakti. In order to come back to Godhead, one practices. So a person with this kind of intention when practices Bhakti, that person is said to be the practitioner of Bhakti in the mode of goodness. An example of this is shown in the Bhagavatam 4th canto as Prithu Maharaj. Of course, we cannot say that Prithu Maharaj is the devotee in the mode of goodness, but through the activities of Prithu Maharaj as the king, as the ruler of the entire Bhumandala, and through the instructions of Prithu Maharaj that he gave to his descendants, that he gave to his citizens, we can understand that he is at least requesting all the citizens that at least practice bhakti in the mode of goodness. Instead of practicing bhakti in the mode of passion and ignorance, practice bhakti in the mode of goodness. If practicing bhakti in the mode of pure goodness is very difficult, practice bhakti in the mode of goodness. First of all, practice bhakti for the self purification, and then perform your duties as a service to Supreme Lord. Ultimately, by this, by offering all one's endeavors to Supreme Lord and by one's self purification, one will come back to Godhead eventually. So, a king setting up an example, requesting all the citizens to practice bhakti like this. Yadyat acharati shrestha tatat eva itaro jana. The reason is the person who is practicing bhakti in the mode of goodness, his intelligence understands what is what. The only this person will have clarity of what is what. That clarity is indicated in Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 by Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna talks about the intelligence in the mode of goodness. Sorry, this is actually goodness. It is just copied from the previous slide. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha yavete buddhi sapartha satviki. The intelligence of Sataguna understands the difference between dharma and adharma. When a person has intelligence in the mode of goodness, he understands what is dharma, what is adharma clearly. In the mode of ignorance, he considers dharma to be adharma, adharma to be dharma. In the mode of passion, confusion, kya, this is dharma, that is dharma. But in the mode of goodness, he understands what exactly is dharma, what exactly is adharma. What should be done and what should not be done. Karya, akarya. What is to be done, what is not to be done. And what is to be feared and what is not feared. Bhaya, abhaya. What kind of activity will lead one to Naraka? One should be fearful of doing such kind of activities. And what kind of activities will take one to spiritual world? One should be performing all these activities fearlessly. Bhaya, abhaya. And bandham, moksham. The difference between the bondage and liberation. What kind of activities will cause me bondage and what kind of activities will cause me liberation. The distinction between the bondage and liberation, everything clearly known to this person. The intelligence which knows what to do and what not to do, which knows that Nishkama karma should be performed and Sakama karma should not be performed. That means Sakama karma means performing bhakti with an intention to get some results to enjoy, to fulfill one's own material ambitions. It is called Sakama karma. Performing bhakti with some material ambitions for the fulfillment of material desires. That kind of thing should not be done. And Nishkama bhakti means performing bhakti as a matter of duty. Estvayam itiva. Because I have been born in a particular family, I need to perform my family occupational duties as a matter of duty and as an offering to Supreme Lord, but not to enjoy the results. So the example I'll tell you. After Mahabharat battle, see the condition of the Pandavas. The Pandavas, for any parents, their living their life is only for their children. Their acquisition of wealth, their daily practices, their daily activities, their life is like a life of happiness is only when they have children, when they do something for their children. They leave a legacy for their future generations. Then they will be able to do whatever they are supposed to do very happily. If they are no children, they are doing their daily activities very boredom, very slowly, very troublesomely they do. They will not have that enthusiasm to do their activities. अभी किसके लिए करेंगे सब हाँ होने दो ना क्या जल्दी क्या so very slack very but धीम में चलता है so in that way we can say but when there are children they can do their things very enthusiastically because they have uh, they say that everything we are doing is for our children only something like that. So now after Mahabharat battle Draupadi had 5 children through 5 Pandavas. All the 5 children were killed. Subhadra had Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu died. And other wives of other Pandavas also were died in the battle. Everyone died. All children were died. So then, how could or for whose sake Yudhishthir Maharaj and Draupadi and other Pandavas ruled over the entire Jambudvipa for 35 long years? From normal point of view, if there are children, they will do everything enthusiastically. When the children die in their eye, in front of their eyes, the rest of their life will be very troublesome, sad, painful, etc. etc. They always have this thought of for whose sake we have to do all these things. किसके लिए ये सब करना है जरूरत नहीं जिएंगे तो जिएंगे मरेंगे तो मरेंगे like that one things but because Lord Krishna said so, because Bhishma said so, because Vyasa said so, the Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira Maharaj and Draupadi, sat on the throne and ruled over the entire Jambudvipa very enthusiastically, only for 2 reasons. One is because it is their duty. Second thing, it is their service to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. It is their bhakti for Lord Krishna. Estvayamitiva and tadarpanam. Because Lord Krishna said so, Lord Krishna will be pleased if they rule over the kingdom. Personally, within the core of their heart, they have a lot of pain for losing their children. But they ruled in such a wonderful way. Bhagavatam says that During those 35 years, though it is the fag end of Dwapara Yuga, but during the 35 years, it appeared as if the Satya Yuga in its full swing was manifesting all over Jambudipa. Everywhere there are opulences. Canto 1 talks about what kind of opulences they were having. So Prabhupada says that what is the hallmark of a society being happy? A society is happy when the cows of the society are happy. When the cows are happy, the society will be happy. For us to do agriculture, we depend upon rainwater or river water. But during the time of Yudhishthira Maharaj, the agricultural fields are always filled with green grasses and they are always moistened by cow milk. When the cows go out for grazing, their udders are continuously downpouring the milk. When the cows are tied in their cow sheds, the whole night the milk is downpouring, the milk is coming out like the streams out of the cow sheds. In spite of the calves have taken the milk, in spite of the cow herds have taken the milk, still the cows are giving the milk profusely. The fields are getting the water in the form of cow milk and they are always filled with green grasses. The opulences are more than that of Indra all over Jambudipa while Yudhishthira Maharaj is ruling. It was much more than that, much more than that of heavenly opulences. And the entire atmosphere was like that of the top-notch Satyayuga. That was the condition. That way Yudhishthira Maharaj ruled, in spite of losing his children, in spite of losing his elders, dearmost elders. He did because he considered this is service to Supreme Lord and this is my duty. Draupadi, Yudhishthir, other Pandavas and Subhadra and all cooperated in spite of losing their near and dear. For Draupadi, her children died, her brothers died, her father died, her relatives died. Even she lost in the battle. So it is like that. Because their intelligence is clear. They know what is to be done, what is not to be done, what is pravritti, what is nivritti, what is dharma and what is adharma, what is to be done karya and what is not to be done akarya, what is to be feared as sinful activity, what is not to be feared as dharmic activity, bhaya and abhaya, and what causes bondage and what is actual bondage, and what causes liberation and what is liberation. They have clear cut understanding of all these things. That's why they could do all these things. The intelligence which knows fear of doing what is to be, what is not mentioned in the scriptures, and knows no fear of doing what is prescribed by the scriptures, bhaya and abhaya. The intelligence which knows the nature of samsara, that which causes bondage, and what destroys samsara, that is moksha, bandham and moksha. And such intelligence is in the mode of goodness. It's like that. And the example of a devotee who executed all his wonderful activities, varnashram duties in the mode of goodness is Prithu Maharaj. Later on we see, and you see that Prithu Maharaj continuously performing yajna and he was telling all the people saying that, so my dear citizens, it is a rule that whatever the citizens do, 1/6 of that will come to the king. I myself is not at all a devotee. If all of you become devotees and practice bhakti, and as a result of that, because somehow or other I have been appointed as the king of all of you, because of that, I will also get 1/6 of your bhakti. As a result of that, I will have a hope of going back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise, I myself is not at all a devotee. I humbly request all of you to practice bhakti so that I will also go back home, back to Godhead along with all of you. This is the nature of a leader who is inspiring the citizens to practice bhakti. So he is establishing bhakti in the mode of goodness all over. To practice bhakti for the purification of one's own self, and for that offering all one's activities as an offering to Supreme Lord and performing all the elements activities as a matter of duty because what is trained in that particular family occupation. And finally, perform one's bhakti for the purpose of going back home back to Godhead. Such bhakti is in the mode of goodness. Or such bhakta is in the mode of goodness. So the example is Prithu Maharaj. Matlab, Prithu Maharaj's activities will signify how a devotee in the mode of goodness will act. So later on, the same chapter 29, chapter 3rd Canto talks about bhakti in the mode of pure goodness. How a person beyond three modes practices bhakti. Such kind of bhakti we can call it as ananya bhakti. Such a person have no desire to go back home back to God also, no desire to purify oneself, no desire to uh, uh, get anything in return, something like that. They perform bhakti, they perform ananya bhakti only for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Such kind of bhakti is called ananya bhakti. An example of such ananya bhakti we can see in the fourth canto are by their prayers we understand, by their teachings we can understand the Prachetas, Lord Shiva, and Narada Muni. These three people exhibit the nature of a devotee in the beyond the influence of three modes. What is their mentality? What kind of consciousness they possess? That we can understand from these three personalities. How a person beyond the influence of three modes thinks and practices bhakti. So, like this, we will discuss about all these four different category of devotees in Canto 4. So, first chapter, what is the first chapter? So, as I just mentioned, while discussing about the devotees in these four categories, we will also understand while practicing bhakti is not cakewalk. There is a lot of obstacles that can come in the life of a devotee. So, what are the different obstacles that can come in the life of a devotee? Through the study of all these wonderful devotees and their descendants, we understand all these different obstacles that can come in the life of a devotee. We can see from Prajapati Daksha, we can understand if we practice bhakti out of anger, out of envy, out of pride, what kind of problems will come and how to overcome that. And from Mother Sati, we can understand that if one is excessively attached to one's body relations, family members, etc., what kind of difficulties one can come. She had to give up her body. So ultimately, she had to burn herself. And if one takes shelter of the lineage of adharma, adharmic activities, what happens to us? Because they are not at all favorable for the practice of one spiritual practices. Because they are adharma is unfavorable element of bhakti. And then from Mother Suruchi, if one is having harsh speech, pride and insecurity, what kind of problems will come in the life of one person? That we can see in the later part of the Canto 4. What happened to Mother Suruchi eventually? And Dhruva Maharaj, if one approaches the Lord, Supreme Lord with material ambitions and competition, how come my step brother could sit on the lap of my father? Why not me? So he went, and eventually during the prayers, after Lord Vishnu blesses him that, my dear Dhruva, I'll give you the entire Bhumandala, rule over it for 100 celestial years, that is 36,000 years. And Dhruva said, why did I ask this? Why did I come to Lord for this? I've already got the Supreme Lord. I could have gone back home back to God right now. I have to rule over the entire Bhumandala for 36,000 human years or 100 celestial years. And then I have to stay in Dhruvaloka for one kalpa. Because I asked for a place superior to 3 lokoti planetary systems or 14 lokas. So Lord gave me place in Dhruvaloka. I have to be there for one kalpa. Then he says, oh, why did I ask all these things? So like that. And then from Anga, not choosing a proper companion. Anga Maharaj is a great devotee, but he married a girl coming from Adharmic lineage. As a result of that, they got a son, Vena. So Vena was so cruel, so cruel. Father was not able to correct him. He went through so many problems that we can see. If our association is not proper, we are put into great trouble. So we should be careful. And then King Vena, cruel, merciless, and arrogance. If we are merciless, arrogant, and cruel, we will be destroyed completely. Just like Vena was killed by the Hunkara of the great sages. And from Indra, we can understand that insecurity, intolerance, and envy. When King Prutu was performing 100 sacrifices, when he came close to 100, Indra thought, how can Prutu will perform 100 yajnas? I was the one who was known as Shatakratu, the performer of 100 yajnas. And now onwards, Prutu will be known another Shatakratu. And if Prutu performs one more extra, he will become 101, I will be 100. I will be less. Insecurity, competitive mentality, comparison. So he wanted to interrupt Prutu Maharaj's 100 yajna. So many things happened. We'll discuss that. And then from King Prachinabari, we understand that Karmakanda mentality. I need to perform this. I need to perform this. Piety, 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 piety. One yajna, second yajna, third, fourth. Like that. Excessive execution of pious activities. What happens? That we'll see. And then the 10 pratyatas. Sometimes the intense tapasya leads to anger. So that also we see. How? Especially during Nirjala Ekadashi, Janmashtami and all, when there is intense tapasya, when there is intense austerity, when devotees say not like this, not like this, we immediately become angry. So like that. And then from Canto 5, we see Bharat Maharaj, misplaced compassion. He was already in the platform of Bhava. Then he went to Pulaha Ashram in the greater Himalayas. So, but he became compassionate over a deer cub. The mother deer died. He was taking care of the deer cub. While taking care of the deer cub, he forgot to practice his daily bhakti. Then he died, meditating upon the deer. What will happen to the deer cub? Who will take care of the deer cub? He himself became the deer. That is misplaced compassion. And Maharaj Rahugana, identity with one's upadhi. Even though one may be a devotee, but one is boasting about one's own upadhi. I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that. That is a big obstacle on the path of one's bhakti. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Naham Vipro Nachanarapatir Napi Vaishyo Na Shudro Naham Varni Na Grahapatir Na Yatir Panastova. So Lati like that. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasa. I am neither a sannyasi nor a Vanaprastha, Grasta or Brahmachari. I am neither a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. I am simply a servant of the 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 gopis, who are the worshippers of Lord Krishna. So that is that one. Identifying in one's own upadhi is also a great obstacle that we will see from Maharaj Raghuna. So some of the important obstacles have been shown through the activities of various personalities. There could be many more. All those things cannot be listed in small Bhagavatam. So all of them are summarily as a allegorical story are presented in the Forest of Material Enjoyment. The complete list is given in 2 chapters of the 5th canto. I think chapter 13 and 14. These 2 chapters summarily they talk about all other obstacles that can come in the life of a sadhaka. Summarily. So through all these chapters, we can understand while practicing bhakti what all the difficulties will come. And through the prayers of all these devotees, how can we overcome all these obstacles? The only one and only means to stay secure, stay safe, and stay protected is by being in the company of great devotees. Surayama lavenapi na swargam na punarbhavam bhagavas sangi sangasya martyanam kim mutashisha. They were asking Lord Vishnu, the Prachetas were asking that, my dear Lord, we don't want any blessings. We only want one blessing. Please keep us in the company of your wonderful devotees. Yavatte maya srushta bama brahmama ya karmabi because of our karmas, even though if we have to take birth again and again for millions of times, no problem. But one thing, tavat bhavat prasanganam sangasthyanno bhave bhave. Every time, please keep us in the company of your devotees. Why? What is the special of the association of devotees? यत्रेड्यन्ते कथामृष्टा तृष्णाया प्रशमो यत निर्वैर यत्र भूतेषु नोद्वेगो यत्र कश्चन. Because your devotees continuously worship you by discussing about your wonderful nama, rupa, guna, leela. Hearing which prashamo yatha. Yatredyante katamrushta trishnayo prashamo yatha. Trishna, the material hankering, will be prashama, completely controlled, completely subdued. At least as long as we are hearing Krishna Katha, we understand the temporary nature of this material existence. We understand the eternal nature of the spiritual world. We understand the eternal nature of bhakti. And we think that now I don't want anything else. I just want to practice bhakti. At least during the katha is going on. If katha is going on eternally, we always think like that eternally. That's why they say that, please give us a birth in the company of your devotees so that we get to hear your Krishna Katha, your glories. While hearing your glories, we subdue all our material ambitions, material desires, material trishna. Trishnayo prashmo yata nirvaira yatra bhuteshu. And we will never ever have enmity towards any other living entities. Trishna stands for bhakti in the mode of passion. Vaira stands for bhakti in the mode of ignorance. Will be freed from the bhakti in the mode of passion, will be freed from the bhakti in the mode of ignorance. Nirvaira etra bhuteshu, will never ever have enmity towards any other living entities. Envy towards other living entities, the prime cause of offense. Nirvaira etra bhuteshu, no dvego etra kashana. Na udvega, no fear of what will happen tomorrow. Kya hoga, kaise hoga. One will have complete faith in the bhakti. Bhakti in the mode of goodness. One knows what is what. Bhakti is the process which is a potent process which will award the results. No fear about future. What will happen? If I am surrendered to Supreme will take care of everything. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja ham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami madhujha. The Supreme Lord will take care of me. I don't have to worry about the future. Na udvega etra kashana. As long as Bhakti, the Krishna Katha is going on, one will never ever experience that udvega out of fear. It's like that. So Paracheta is very succinctly, very summarily present the essential principles of Bhakti. They say that the solution for all these problems is be in the association of devotees. Only that will save us from the impending dangers. That is the solution. And these are the list of problems. That's how Canto 4 especially and also Canto 5 to some extent teaches Tata Prapti Virodhicha. What are the obstacles that can come on our path back home, back to Godhead, or during our practice of Bhakti? We can understand these things from Canto 4 and also little bit from Canto 5. So this is like a kind of background, a mood with which we can move on while studying Canto 4. Any questions till now? Hare Krishna, are you able to follow?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, anyone has any questions?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद
हाँ,
प्रणाम।
yes, Mataji.
प्रभु जी, इंदिरा की जो मेंटेलिटी है उसकी सेक्रीफाइस से फिर उसका क्या रिजल्ट होगा, वो आगे पढ़ेंगे ना?
Because of the such mentality, what happened? He became like ashamed in front of everyone. Everyone was looking at Indira low, and they're saying that this mentality is not proper. Let us kill Indira also. It went all the to the extent that they want to kill Indira also. So like
Oh.
that. Hmm.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
हरे
Yeah.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Yes, Puj.
प्रभु जी ये प्रत्यादर्श का केस क्या बोले, मतलब इंटेंस तपस्या से गुस्सा आता है क्या हमको, मतलब?
कभी कभी
ओके,
कभी कभी क्या
मतलब
अभी अभी आप
इमेच्योर
हमको
स्टेट में क्या?
तपस्या के बिना गुस्सा आते हैं उसमें तपस्या के क्या है
हाँ हाँ, वो तो ऑब्वियसली प्रभु जी।
I just gave an example that especially if you are fasting too much fasting if that time somebody does not listen to us one becomes angry one becomes irritated very fast when you are stomach full so at least you become angry but you don't exhibit but when your stomach empty if you become angry immediately it comes out. Yes, other devotees, anybody else have any questions? Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Puji.
Krishna. So Bhakti Maharaj is considered an incarnation also, and is a like devotee also.
See, yes, he is incarnation, but while studying Bhagavatam, we have to see him as a devotee. Lord Rishabhadev is also Supreme Lord, but in the sense, devotee means he is acting as a ruler, na? In that way. Prithu Maharaj is considered to be Shakti Avesh Avatar. He is embodied with Palana Shakti.
He is a Jiva Tattva, right?
Huh?
He is a Jiva Tattva.
Yeah, हो सकता है. Because he is not Leela Avatara completely. He is actually Shakti Avesh Avatar. So just like we say Parashuram is a Shakti Avesh Avatar, Buddha is a Shakti Avesh Avatar, like that Prithu is also Shakti Avesh Avatar. So if Shakti Avesh Avatar is a Jiva Tattva, yeah, yes, that we can say Prithu is also is a Shakti Avesh Avatar.
Okay,
Like Narada is also Shakti Avesh Avatar, four Kumar is also Shakti Avesh Avatar. All these personalities are different Shakti Avesh, examples of Shakti Avesh Avatar. Anyone can help me understand what is the time now?
Prabhuji, it is
108.
1:08.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so we are not beginning Canto 4. If any questions are there, please openly you can ask. For few more minutes, we'll discuss the questions, and next week we'll start Canto 4 from first verse onwards. So, in the beginning, in the very first part, Srila Prabhupada expresses gratitude to all the parampara. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also expresses gratitude to all the acharyas. So, wherein they say that what grateful soul is there who would not render his loving service to such a great master as the Supreme Lord? The Lord can be easily pleased by spotless devotees who resort exclusively to him for protection. Though the unrighteous man finds it difficult to propitiate him. So, a person who knows, who understands what the Supreme Lord is doing to us, if we remember Canto 3, we can understand what Lord is doing to us. The first part of Canto 3, we understand that how painfully the Lord is creating the entire universe, how artistically, how wonderfully is creating the entire universe. In the later part of the third canto, we see that Lord Himself coming forward to giving us a proper clue how to live in this world and how to go back home back to Godhead. Lord Himself is coming again and again various avatars to attract all of us. Lord Himself sending various teachers such as Narada Muni, the four Kumaras, and great sages, and various acharyas time and again to inspire us to practice bhakti and go back home back to Godhead. He who understands all these things, how Lord is doing all this thing to take us back home, back to Godhead, definitely will worship the Supreme Lord with great pleasure. Though others may say it is very difficult, but for a grateful person, it is very, 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 very easy. One who understands what Lord is doing for us, one definitely will serve the Supreme Lord. As Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, what he says? Aham sarvasya prabho mattam sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samanitva. One who knows this, definitely worship me. How? Buddha bhava samanita. With one's own intelligence and all other faculties, manasa, vacha, karmana, completely one executes in service of the Supreme Lord. The same thing again he repeats one more time in in the 19th verse of the 15th chapter. Emam yovam janati purushottamam. So in that, he who knows me as Purushottama, Emam yovam asammodo janati purushottamam sarvavit sa sarvavit bhajanti mam sarva bhavena bharata. So in all respects, they worship the Supreme Lord. Having understood that Lord Krishna is the Purushottama, who is superior to all the different forms of Bhagavan, worshipped by the different variety of devotees, who is superior to Paramatma, who is worshipped by Ashtanga yogis, who is superior to Brahman, worshipped by the Jnana yogis, who is superior to Devatas, worshipped by the Sakama karmis, or the conditioned souls. So like that, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, various places, Lord Krishna explained that he who understands the true position of Supreme Lord, he understands what Lord is doing for all of us, how eager he is to take us back home, back to Godhead. Such a person definitely will worship the Supreme Lord. Sam sukaradyam ruchibir ananya sharane rujubi nrubi kritagnya konu seveta duraradhyam asadubhi. If a person who is kritagnya definitely will serve the Lord, but a akritagnya, for a asadu, it is very difficult. So indirectly, one who is not serving the Lord is called asadu. Offering respects to Sri Guru, to Sri Krishna, the ocean of mercy, and to Lokanatha, the eye of the universe, I take shelter of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. I offer myself and everything I have to the absolute Lord, who is dearer than life to all the cowherd men and women, and to the service of his dear devotees. So this is a prayer offered by Sri Krishna Chakravarti Thakur unto Sri Guru, Sri Krishna, and Lokanatha means Lokanatha Goswami Maharaj, and Lokanath Goswami, and also Sukadeva Goswami, and all Guru Parampara in that sense. So he's saying that with their blessings, I'll continue to narrate the commentary of Canto 4. So like that. So these are some of the points as an introduction to our Canto 4. So I think we'll stop here and we'll start Canto 4 next week onwards. So any further questions? Krishna?
No, Prabhuji, one comment. Very fantastic, Prabhuji, the flow of third canto to fourth canto. And it was so nice, Prabhuji, so that it just enlivened the whole thing. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hari, thank you very much. Other devotees? Okay. If there are no comments from any devotees, I will stop here. And just today, we just started the introduction to Canto 4, and eventually we get into Canto 4, discuss in detail, and